What's up, guys? Welcome to Nintendo Power Block, episode 134. It is November already. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is that retro code, Eddie V.
Nindies Showcase Season 2! Yes!
Yes, we did. We have been recording Nindy Showcase Season 2.
Oh, and the games that we are playing. Oh.
Yeah. Yes. The games. All the games. So, also joining us, the wise Wisconsinite, Jesse Douglas.
How's it going?
That was a great face for the audio listeners.
Exactly.
Oh, man. How's it going, guys? How's the weekend? Good?
Good so far.
Yeah.
Themselves?
Just starting. I can't wait to play some games.
I know. Speaking of games, I tried to play Black Ops 4 last night.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't let me play the game. Like, it just kept kicking me out.
Yeah.
Like where it would, like when you're trying to load it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got some bugs with that game, because like sometimes too when you're loading it, the main beginning intro to the game won't appear or even start or do anything until I press buttons on the controller. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah, there's some little bugs that they have with it. I've noticed that, like getting it to start, because I've had that issue too.
We'll probably touch on AX. Yeah, they've been having a lot of problems with Black Ops 4.
I can't, like, it was, I wanted to play last night because I finished Shadow of the Tomb Raider last night, and like I was like, man, I need like a palate cleanser, and I wanted to play some Black Ops, and it wouldn't start the game. Like, it just wouldn't start the game. It was making me mad.
Yeah, I had an issue with that too the other day, and what I ended up doing was I went. What did I do? I like went into the game, like not just clicking on the icon. I went into like the actual game's like hub or whatever thing, and then like started it from there, and then I got it to eventually work. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and they just recently had like a 13 gig update that I downloaded, and then all of a sudden, like the next day, they had like it was only like a 600 megabyte update or something, but they had another tiny update then the next day. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's something to do with maybe like the seasonal stuff, like that smaller update. I'm guessing was just something like for aesthetics. Stability. Because they did change the interface a little bit of the game. Like it didn't, like, you know, in the past, like a lot of games, if you unlock something that's new, a lot of times there'll be an icon next to the thing that's new, or there'll be an icon on the list or the main menu of the thing that would show you where something that you may have unlocked is new. And a lot of times there'll be an icon next to it letting you know that something in there is new. They didn't do that originally until just recent with the update. Now, like, all these icons are popped everywhere on all the new things that I've unlocked already, that I already knew I unlocked. But I mean, it's a good addition because it lets you know where things are that you've unlocked. But But yeah, just they're constantly like changing little things here and there right now. So I'm hoping it's gonna probably end up being like a lot of games nowadays, like Siege, where it's gonna just gradually they're gonna improve on it and try to make things as look better over time, as much as they can. And I don't know. But yeah, it is a bummer when stuff like that. I have that problem that you had, Corey, with a lot of games, like where just sometimes they just don't want to load. It will start loading it up, and then it just kicks you out, and it says that we had an issue.
No, it doesn't
or
even
something
say
like
we had
that.
an issue. It'll go to like the Black Ops like load up wallpaper screen, and then it'll just kick me back out to the dashboard like the game never started. Yeah, I have that happen with some games occasionally, and a lot of times it gets fixed if I do a hard reset with my Xbox. I don't want to do that.
But I have that happen
Right.
with a lot of games, actually. You'd be surprised how many games that happens with, for me anyway. But I also have the older Xbox, so...
Yeah, I mean,
Still.
I might hard reset the Xbox in, like, after we record, I guess. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's enough Xbox talk. We've been...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit of Xbox as we've all been playing Xbox games, but let's get into some of this housekeeping before we get into what we've been playing since we skipped it last week, sort of, almost. Got some housekeeping for you. Pod and Play Season 3 is underway. There are only 2 episodes left this season, but don't fret. Season 4 and 5 are officially in pre-production. And by pre-production, I mean Ed and I stayed up till 2:30 making our games list last night. So,
Oh, yes.
oh man, Season 4 and 5 are going to be great. Season 4 starts March 2nd, and we'll bring you some awesome games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Marvel Spider-Man, Wolfenstein 2, and finally making its appearance on Pod and Play, the NGR favorite, Bloodborne, featuring our very own Matthew Keel and Moose Cool as guests on that episode. So that's happening. Let's see. Check out all of our seasons on demand and subscribe to NGR Radio's Prime channel today for notifications on Season 4. And check out all of our episodes on demand from Season 1, 2, and 3. So Season 3 still has a couple episodes to go. So check those out.
My friend Ben texted me. He's like, yes, Titanfall 2 Pod and Play. He's excited about the Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
So good.
That was a good one. Sorry, I kind of like abruptly stopped because I when I moved, the lighting changes on my camera and it looked like there was like a fire flickering back there, and it was like,
Oh, no.
freaking me out. So, also, my Xbox is on and my TV is on. So when the new like thing pops up, it also changes the lighting in the screen. It was like, no. But anyways, speaking of Nindy Showcase Season 2 is also well into production. Starting January 5th, Nindy Showcase is coming back with awesome games like Dead Cells, The Messenger, Iconoclast, and more. Subscribe to Nintendo Power Block's YouTube channel today, or check out all of Nindy Showcase on NGRradio.com. Lastly, we are giving away 2 games this month. Diablo 3 and Pokemon Let's Go are up for grabs this month. Entry details are: subscribe to us on YouTube, Nintendo Power Block, subscribe. Email us at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com. And 3, for bonus points, more of like a bonus, rate us on your podcast service of choice.
Yes.
Because it helps with discoverability, and we always welcome new listeners. So, do all that for your chance to win Diablo 3 the first half of the month, and Pokemon Let's Go on the second half of the month. That's how you...
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, everybody's doing it, man.
Everybody's doing
Everybody.
the Pokemon. What? And of course, you can find all of our podcasts, content, reviews, and other stuff on ngrradio.com. Download our family of shows: Nerds Gone Platinum, Arsenal X, Nerds Gone Rogue, and of course, Nintendo Power Block.
Yay.
Let's get into what we've been playing. Jesse, we're going to start with you.
All right, so I'm gonna actually, because I'll be honest, I haven't really been playing a whole lot other than Black Ops.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, like on Switch, I played some. I actually finally tried the Puyo Puyo Tetris
yes.
demo.
Yes.
Demo. So I played that, and I completely suck at it just because I don't play it that often. And there goes the dog.
Guests.
Our Arsenal X mascot.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then I played some Mario Party, and
not fun by yourself, by the way. Mario Party.
I didn't mind it, but yeah, it's not as fun playing it by yourself. Like I would play it against a computer and just to progress or whatever. But because I think you've got to play like every single level or something like that before you can unlock the new one or something. I forget, but yeah. So and then I finally got the Yoku's Island Express game. I played the demo of that a while back, and just kind of wanted to get it and just kept on putting it off, but then it's on sale on Switch, so I finally picked it up. And that's for the most part. I think that's pretty much it. I did play some more Tricky Towers and that super ineffective golf.
Nice.
So like I've been mostly playing just like little casual games like that on my Switch, and then just I was like doing a lot of grinding on Black Ops 4 to unlock the all the Halloween themed stuff that you could unlock, like face paints and emotes and things like that, which is normal. It's funny because that's normally something I do not care about in game, like Fortnite, all those stuff. I really didn't care about any of the things that you could get, but for whatever reason, like I think it's probably because I have the season pass, and since I can get that stuff through the season pass, it's like it feels like if I'm not trying to get it, I'm wasting my money in a way. Because with the Fortnite, you're not paying for the game, or I'm not really paying for a season, the pass thing, so I don't feel the need to try to get any of that stuff. But since I have it on Black Ops, I just feel like I should probably try, and it's just something cool to have that's unique and different. Like the emote things will definitely be fun for like when we're recording, just for goofing around and stuff like that, because they're pretty cool. I'll show you Corey when we play.
Okay, if I can get in. Jeez. Oh man. Well, Ed, I guess it's your turn.
Okay, so
Sorry,
I'm gonna hold
my brain is like everywhere else right now. It's just like
I'm gonna hold off my Xbox stuff for Arsenal X, but I do want to tackle play the Tetris Effect demo for PlayStation 4. Looks really good. I didn't get a chance to hear the music, so I'm gonna play it again and try to hear the tracks that's in it. But it plays really good, plays really fast. I like the fact that it kind of teaches you on what they added new to this game and how quickly and easy it is to actually place your Tetris parts and then move around the stage. So I am and do enjoy that. I think the game comes out like next or the week of this viewing. So if you guys are interested, I think it says a weekend trial. So I think it's just for the weekend. I'm not sure, but I'm actually enjoying it, and you don't have to have it the VR to play. If you want to play the game regularly, you can. If you want to play it in VR, you can do that also. But mostly for Switch, playing Breath of the Wild, got a little bit further into that, and man, it still feels good just knocking the laser reflex back to the Guardians, doing more shrines and finding more secrets that, like I said, I never found in it yet. I'm about to tackle with the first Guardian in the game, so I can't wait for me to do that. Downloaded some games, did pick up Diablo 3, Mega Man 11, and Harvest Moon. I actually bought my first Harvest Moon game, so I can't wait to start those. So next week next episode I'll be able to talk more about that. Really can't wait to jump into Diablo 3 and stuff, and also picked up Spider-Man. So can't wait to play a little bit of that. But pretty much getting Pot and Play ready and doing some Nindy games for Nindy Showcase. I kind of don't want to say what we're playing, even though Corey gave you guys an idea of what we've been playing. I kind of want you guys to see next year those games that we are playing for it, because what me and Corey actually played today, we thoroughly enjoyed. So I'm going to hold off until actually the showcase goes live next year. But the games that I did pick up and play for them are really, really good and really, really fun. So pretty much that's all I've been playing. And yeah, I'll save everything else for Arsenal X.
I have something to add about like the Tetris effects. Okay, so this is just really obscure and weird, and I'm super curious what it is. But I had listened to the interview. I think it was Game Informer interview with the creators of Tetris Effect. And Mizuguchi. Yeah, him and the other. There is another guy too with him. An American guy with him. Mark something, I forgot his last name. Yeah. Video game Jesus. He used to work for E4. Yeah, he said that they blatantly ripped something off from Halo 3 in that game, and I'm like, what? And what could they possibly have ripped off from Halo 3 for a Tetris game? Like, so I'm curious. I'm curious what it is. Like,
there is a mode that, like, when you get a lot of, it's kind of like a super meter from Street Fighter. When you build up a lot of lines, you can hit L1 or R1, and it'll turn the stage differently, where every line that you make goes down to the bottom. And once it all get done, like, you can keep comboing it up, and when you run out of the meter, it'll be able to drop everything down to the ground. So if you're stuck and you can never get back to the bottom part, if you use that, you can start making lines, and they'll start filling out those lines at the bottom, so that when you get done with those combos and get back to normal gameplay, it'll drop down.
What is that to do with Halo? Like,
that it might be something with Halo. I don't know if it's Halo 3 that if you shoot a lot of people, you get like a super meter. I don't know if it's something like that, but that's the only.
Better, I'm wondering if it's like the grunt celebrate, or like the thing when you shoot the grunts in the head, it makes that cheering noise. Like, I wonder if maybe they stole like that sound or something for something when you're playing. Like, that's the only thing I could think of that they could possibly, because that was Halo 3 that first was introduced, wasn't it? Yeah, do you remember, Corey?
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if it's something like that where they stole that sound effect, or they copied it in some way, that like when you do something that will do that cheering noise.
It's probably when you get a Tetris. Because they have, like, on one of the levels that I played, they had people bowing down while you play. Okay. So I think if you get like a Tetris effect, probably get a Tetris effect, you might get something from that. That's the only thing I could think of. I haven't listened to the interview yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just interesting. I'm like, what could you possibly rip off from Halo 3 to put in a Tetris game?
It's Mark McDonald. That's his name, Mark McDonald.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marky Mark and the Tetris bunch.
Yeah, he used to be on. He used to work for EGM, and then with A4 and help develop some of your favorite Nintendo games like Fire Emblem and Xenoblade. So
I like Fire Emblem a lot. Just throwing that out there.
he did such a fantastic job of Awakening.
I love Fire Emblem so much.
But Corey, what you been playing?
Let's see. On Switch, I haven't really been playing much except for what we've been doing for an indie showcase. I did. Well, that's not 100% true. I tried a bunch of different stuff for Quick Looks on Nintendo Palblock's YouTube channel. I did play. I started Wolfenstein 2, which I haven't gotten around to yet, and I want to say that game looks incredibly good for it being on Switch, like especially in the cutscenes. And I was like, "There's no way this is how this is working on Switch, right?" And so I did a little bit of research, and I don't know if this is true or not. I went down a Reddit rabbit hole, and then I went through some other like you know how you get when you research stuff and go down rabbit holes and stuff on the internet. And so like I was doing some reading on Reddit and why the cutscenes look so good on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The cutscenes are running in engine, so the cutscenes look great, and the cutscenes look just like the game, right? That's how they, and you know, when they're running at 4K 60 or whatever, they look fantastic. Well, apparently, the Switch version, the cutscenes are all compressed video from the Xbox One and PlayStation 4's versions of the cutscenes. So that's why the cutscenes look fantastic, is because they're not running an engine, they're running compressed video, which is also why there's like an 8 gig patch when you put it in your Switch for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When Corey told me that, I was just like, wait, what? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good workaround. I mean, if you think about it, like, why have the system try to run that in game when you can just literally have a video of it playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, because when I went to PAX, I was like, man, this cutscene looks amazing, and this is running on Switch, and it's like, well, that's why, because that's what they did. So, well, apparently that's what they did. I didn't talk to anybody at Panic Button or anything, but like, you know, running through that Reddit rabbit hole, that's really interesting.
I mean, it makes sense because that, you know, like there's things like that, tricks like that you hear them talk about occasionally, like developers talk about that they do to try to save, you know, like memory and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah. So I played some of that. I played some Starlink, but it was a really rough playthrough of Starlink because my base doesn't work. My ship base is not working properly. And I've tried to contact Ubisoft support and on Twitter and through email, and just nobody is getting back with me about it. So I don't know if it's like a known issue, if like I just got a faulty version or what, but like I was really enjoying it, and like the game doesn't work unless the ship is on the dock. Mm-hmm. And like my ship is on the dock, but it's just like it's not reading the ship. Like it reads the pilot just fine, but it's just not reading the ship. And I was at Best Buy last night, and I almost bought another ship just to see if like I have a defective ship, but the ships were like $30. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not buying a ship. That's too much investment to see if something works or not. So I bought.
Yeah, because then if it doesn't work, then you've got two ships and you can't still need to exchange it or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean the R-Wing still looks cool sitting on my desk, but it just sucks because like I really wanted to play this game. Like it's a fun game to play. Like it's kind of it's like this weird. Imagine like an open world Ubisoft game, but in a spaceship instead of running around on the ground. It's like it's super cool. And like all the Star Fox stuff is cool. The cutscenes are well produced, and like it doesn't feel like it's forced in or anything. Like it's a really cool game, and I really recommend it to anybody. But if you're gonna buy it, I would almost recommend the digital version, especially because the digital version with the content pass
Yeah.
is like $180 cheaper than if you were to buy all the toys. So, but I'm actually like considering buying the all digital version just to play this game.
Yeah.
And man, it's cool. Like, check out our quick look on ngrradio.com and on our YouTube page of Starlink. It's cool.
Yes.
There's some rough areas, and I realized part of the game I'm flying backwards because it wouldn't read the ship, so it wouldn't read when I took the toys off. And so I had to like shoot some stuff flying backwards, which is a real tricky thing to do. But it's cool. So I had to end it early because like it just would not. It was just not working. But it's a cool, and which sucks because it's a cool game, and I almost wish they would come out with a version. Which, honestly, if these toys don't sell well, it wouldn't surprise me if they sold like a gold edition with a download code for all the ships and content in like the summer. Just because if the toys don't sell. But it's a cool game, and I really want to see how this works outside of the toys.
I kind of wish that they would have actually sold a version of the game where you could have the ship and get the gold, like all of the digital stuff as well, all into one package.
Would that be the gold edition?
Just because then you'd still be able to have the ship, but you wouldn't necessarily need it, so it would be more of like a collector's edition.
Yeah, well, I went on the eShop to see if I could just like straight up buy like the digital ships with the physical copy of the game. And there's a way, like Giant Bomb, there's a way to play quote unquote digitally, but I haven't figured out how to do it. So like I might figure out how to do that later, but for right now it just sucks. But you know what I did kind of realize though while playing this game? I wonder if the tech they're using for this game is tech that was developed for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like the spaceship, like leaving the planet and going to another planet without loading. Yeah. Like, that tech looks awfully familiar from those Beyond Good and Evil demos.
Trailers.
And I'm wondering if this is kind of like quote-unquote tech demo for that.
Yeah. So, like, this game could be a building block, like something that they're using to kind of create the stuff that they need for that game, in a way.
Better known as a beta.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Well, no, this is a completely different game.
But known beta as in they're using the system and they're going what they learn from it, they're going to improve on it for good Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, maybe a beta of the system, but not a beta of the game.
Maybe that would just mean like every Nintendo game ever released was a beta.
Pretty much.
But no, that it's like that tech seems really cool, and I'm interested to see how they're using it elsewhere. But other than that, I've been playing the first South Park game on Switch. It's pretty funny. I'm really enjoying. I like the concepts of the second game better because like I like the superhero spoof stuff, but I like the combat and the item management stuff better in the first game. Yeah. So, I've been playing that, and of course Tetris, every night before I go to bed. Download the Puyo Puyo Tetris demo. It's free. You can play as much Tetris as you want for free. So
yeah, I gotta play the South Park games. I had bought the most recent one. I bought it used, and like they have those codes in there for the original game and all that stuff, and and the Towley thing and all that. And I just figured, I'm not even gonna bother with those because whoever owned it, already used those codes. They're not going to be any good. Well, the other day I was like, you know what? I'll just give them a try anyways. Sure enough, both codes worked. So now I got the Xbox One version of that first game because I had the 360 backwards compatibility version of that game. But now I have the Xbox One version of it, and the Towley thing is what I cared more about.
Nice.
But Yeah, so that's kind of weird. That's like the first time I've ever bought a used game, and the code things that it came with actually still worked.
So yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing in terms of Switch. I did finish Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but we'll talk about that on Arsenal X.
Yes.
But yeah, that's kind of it. I kind of wish my Switch was getting more use, but it just I've been really sucked into Tomb Raider and Destiny lately. So
yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna get into some of these news bits. So there's a big Smash Direct this week, and we didn't really do a Nintendo Direct recap on it, so we're just gonna kind of do it here. But they revealed 3 new characters and the new story mode, and what else did they showed off the
Spirits
and the spirit mode. So
yeah,
this first article comes from Nintendo Life. 3 new characters join the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. I'm just going to summarize it real quick. Ken from Street Fighter, Incineroar from the Pokemon series, and then the Piranha Plant from Super Mario series was announced as a pre-order bonus character. So if you buy that game before January 1st or whatever, you get the Piranha Plant character for free. So
right,
cool. That's kind of a weird addition, but Incineroar is what I don't really remember what is he from Sun and Moon, Ed?
I believe so. Yeah. So
we have that generation kind of represented, and then Ken from Street Fighter is Ryu's Echo character, which is fine. I don't think that's a big surprise. I still think it's cool though. And then Piranha Plant. I want to know how Piranha Plant is gonna act in this series, and like, there's so many more iconic characters they could have used besides the Piranha Plant. And I think it's hilarious, but like, people are so mad it's Piranha Plant.
But some people might be upset, but some people are happy. Though, because the Piranha Plant is kind of some people's favorite. I kind of like the shot when they have all 8 players of different colors, and all the Piranha Plants are going up and down like it's a pit.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool. Like, they did a good job with the trailer. Like, Nintendo is just weird with some characters, and the ones that you think that don't work or shouldn't be in Smash, people learn in May and they become deadly. Because people didn't want the Wii Fit trainer in there, and you see a lot of people use her, and kick and tail. So it's just like, wow, But I thought the overall direct was really good. I like the 3 new characters. They changed up Ken with his Dragon Punch and his Hurricane Kick. He has the fight. I know they said they took him from Super Street Fighter 2. So he has the fireball with his hands imprinted in the fireball like they were in the regular Street Fighter games. Because they had to change. They ended up changing Ryu's fireball when it came to Super Street Fighter.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with like the animations of his attacks and stuff. And the same with the Pokemons as well. Like that, like is a pretty. Their attack things look pretty cool. There's super attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like overall, like it wasn't bad. I think that at times though, a lot of the stuff they spent a little more time on things than they probably had to. Just talking about things that weren't super important, but
I think it was important. For it was a new mode, so they just don't want to announce nothing and have you figure out by getting the game and stuff. They kind of just like, we want to break this down so you guys can understand it, so there really don't be no questions and stuff like that. Nintendo was just like, we just need to, this is a new mode for this game, and we want to just like deliver to you in ways, not saying ways that you can understand, but deliver to you so when you receive this information, you start playing around with it, you understand what it is a little bit better, because they flat out just told you what it is, so to understand.
Yeah. So there, that leak that we talked about last week obviously wasn't real.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, who knows about some of these downloadable characters? They didn't announce any of the DLC characters yet.
Yeah.
But, I guess we can kind of move on to that. There is a season pass. It's $24.99, and there's what they say, 5 packs of DLC running through February of 2020, and each pack comes with a character, a stage, and a select
music track,
a selection of music. So,
and they're $5.99 each.
Yeah, so basically, if you buy the season pass, you get $5 off. So that's pretty standard for a season pass. So.
And everybody's gonna probably like buy it on day one.
Yeah,
so I mean, it just makes sense.
Like there's a ton of characters they could choose from. Who knows? That leak could be the DLC characters. We don't know, right?
Because remember we kind of talked about this, and it would make more sense for them to take a rare product character and add it as a DLC versus having it in the actual physical game.
Yeah, because
that
they
way
wouldn't have to pay that Microsoft. They wouldn't have to pay Microsoft out of the game proper.
Games.
They would just pay it out of the DLC. So yeah. I mean,
and plus, Bandai Namco, like, shoot, they could be bringing. I think they'll probably bring one of the Tekken fighters to it. Tekken. Now that they got one Kira from Virtua Fighter, Sega might actually bring some of their fighters from their games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do with DLC characters. I think, Square is a big proponent of something coming over from Square, whether it's a Bravely Default character or, I mean, I don't think something from Octopath Traveler would come over, but, something more on the side of like Kingdom Hearts or more Final Fantasy characters or
what's their name, the one game that where you're fighting robots or whatever. What's I think you had just played it recently.
Near Automata.
Yeah, what if they had her in it?
She's already in Soul
Calibur 6. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean that's not out of the realm of possibility, but I think it's a little. I think something more along the lines of Kingdom Hearts would make more sense than something like Nier, because I mean, Cloud was this weird anomaly to make. It just makes everything possible. When Cloud was announced, there hadn't been a proper Final Fantasy game on Nintendo platform since 6, right? Mm-hmm. So. I mean, now we're getting 7, 9, 10, 12.
I think it would be cool if they bought Orin, and so his Smash is turning. His Smash could be bringing all the characters from Octopath Traveler, and then they just smash everybody with their powers. So it'd be Octopath and Final Fantasy together, something like that.
What about the dude from Dead Cells?
I mean,
that would be pretty sweet.
I would love to see I mean, there's so many characters you could try to get. Like, I still want Shovel Knight. I know he's in the game as like an assist trophy, but they've had assist trophies as downloadable characters before. So
I could see the guy from Dead Cells being a character, because that would be basically like a fighter in his own games.
Yeah.
Plus
I think
plus
that
he's
would
got
actually be pretty sweet.
He's already got the smash dodge rollout out of the way. He's got ranged and melee attacks. He'd be a solid kind of
that Spartan boot.
Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited about Dead Cell's character being in Smash, because I'm gonna get excited.
What what would happen if you smash someone out with the Dead Cells character and then throw you on the stage where the first part of Dead Cells start at? So you got that big old skeleton thing.
Yeah, but you're just a rolling green ball that forms into your body again.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, we got more Smash news to talk about. Smash Ultimate's Spirit Mode adds a ton of more characters to the game. They are more of like assist characters and characters that will allow you to have special abilities. And there's a ton of weird stuff. So this article's from Polygon. I'm just going to read it real quick. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's newest feature is called Spirits Mode. Nintendo announced during the Direct dedicated to the upcoming Switch game. Spirits are power-ups based on other characters from many of the series represented in the game. There are primary spirits, which can include anything from Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey, to Rogue from Sonic the Hedgehog, to Otacon from Metal Gear Solid. Only one primary spirit can be assigned to a player at one time. Following those are support spirits, which primary spirits have additional slots for. Multiple support spirits can be attached to primary spirits for additional boosts. If a GUI primary is chosen, for example, then players can add 3 more supports to it. It has enough slots for those. Spirits join alongside the fighter on the battlefield, much like assist trophies do, but unlike assist trophies, they don't require an item to unlock. Instead, they create unique conditions from the beginning of the game that are useful for different types of fights. Bullet Bill adds plenty of items all over the field when it's live, for example, and transforms the player into the Mario enemy. Unlocking the spirits requires fighting them during a specific battle, spirit battle. Following that is a special roulette-style challenge to actually grab them from your party. You can also summon them by combining spirits when they level up post-battle. These are called cores. Each spirit also has a special type, one of 3 types. There's attack, grab, and shield. It's a traditional type circle with one at an advantage or disadvantage against the other, aka rock, paper, scissors. Let's see, there's a lot more to that, but basically they're adding kind of like support characters to this mode. And it's kind of like a secondary story mode outside of the World of Light adventure mode, which we'll get to in a little bit. So, what do you guys think of this spirit mode?
It's interesting, like adding some more like complexity to it. I can definitely see, like this being like one of the things that can make or break, I just feel like this game is gonna be like, people who are like super good at Smash games, like this is gonna give them a new challenge that they're gonna have to kind of try to, get used to or whatever. But it's interesting, like that they're actually adding to it and not just making another Smash game.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they're trying to do a bunch of stuff for single player. Content, because let's face it, Smash Wii U didn't really have a lot of single player content. It was more like that they had that challenge board and that was kind of it. So they didn't really have Subspace Emissary like Brawl did or anything. So I don't know. I think Spirit Mode sounds kind of cool. What about you, Ed? Do you think it's cool? I know they announced Shantae to be a spirit.
Yeah. To me, it's like the Soul Edge, Soul Calibur dungeon part of the game where you win stuff when you complete the different tasks and fighters and stuff. So I kind of feel it's like that, and it's cool that this is a way to make your character stronger instead of throwing an amiibo on and then that amiibo gets stronger and stuff. I think this is a good way to like balance it out. So you fight to earn those spirits and you get the ones that you need and power them up and go to town with it. So I think it offers more of a challenge and more replay value to play Smash.
Yeah. Well, and just like the replay value alone just comes from like even from the basic game, the fact that it's like the N64 version where there's like barely any characters unlocked to start off with.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of unlocking to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be cool, but I think the real single player content comes into Super Smash Bros. Adventure mode called World of Light. This is from Nintendo Life. Before wrapping up today's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate broadcast, the final one before the game launches, series director Sakurai gave us a little taste of the game's single player adventure. It says taster, and it threw me off. Gave us a little taste of the game's single player adventure mode entitled World of Light. It sees a mysterious force causing numerous video game characters to lose their bodies and transform into spirits. A cinematic sequence shows this worrying event in action before moving to a game board style map where players move around and challenge various, quote, possessed characters in battle. The broadcast stops short at giving us too much detail, but suggests that Sakurai wants players to discover this mode with fresh eyes when the game eventually hits store shelves. So, there is also something they reached out to some. Let me start over. Some outlets reached out to Nintendo and said that this mode you start out as Kirby, and as you fight through the different characters, that's kind of how you unlock them for main Smash. So,
okay.
Because the starting roster before you unlock all the characters is just the Nintendo 64 roster, which is eight characters, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, this would be this is a cool way to kind of introduce you to all the characters, and because as you unlock them in the adventure mode, you can then play as that character throughout adventure mode. So, it's kind of a cool thing. I kind of miss Subspace Emissary in Smash 4. I actually really liked that mode in Brawl. So, adventure mode, it's cool. Woo!
Yeah, I can't really play it.
Single player content.
That's a cool way to unlock the characters. Like doing it that way, for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of the wrap up for the Smash Direct. This game has a lot more content than I think we expected it to. I mean, it has a lot of characters and a lot of music and trophies and stuff to collect, but the actual gameplay content, I think, is there and actually quite substantial compared to Smash 4. So, plus, I think they said a lot of the other stuff, like the home run stuff and the challenge board are back and all that kind of stuff. They did say, however, there was another article I read, I didn't put in the news, but if you plan to play online, make sure you have a wired connection.
Yeah, and then if you look at the poll on Game Informer, 54% people said they're playing wireless.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a LAN adapter for my Switch dock. I'm sorry. I don't even have my Xbox or my PC wired. So,
but Nintendo warned you guys, so just be aware. Can't get mad at them. Don't sweep.
Look,
I ran like 100-foot wire through my house to wire my Xbox in just because I don't like Wi-Fi for gaming. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just never seems to work properly for me.
Yeah, I mean we don't really have a choice in this apartment anyway, because our apartment building has this weird internet and cable plan built in, so we have a router above our door, and that's kind of, if you want to wire something in, you're kind of screwed. So,
right,
that's weird.
Yeah. Speaking of wired, YouTube app is likely bound for Nintendo Switch on November 8th. This is from Nintendo Enthusiast. An eagle-eyed Nintendo fan at Reset Era has discovered something curious on the Nintendo of America website. A recommendation for a YouTube app on Nintendo Switch dated to launch November 8th. It's not an ironclad confirmation, but it's definitely worth talking about. His screenshot is attached below, and there's a picture of the YouTube app on the Nintendo website. Considering Switch's outstanding portability, many have been clamoring for a YouTube app, and other streaming video apps since the launch of the console. Blah, blah, blah. This guy wants Netflix on it, and that's okay. So, YouTube is seemingly coming to Switch. Cool.
Yay.
I mean, I don't care. Switch is usually the console I'm playing while I watch YouTube. But
yeah,
I guess if you're traveling or whatever.
Yeah, and like I was talking with Ed or talking earlier before the show, like, you know, YouTube is a major like part of you know, the younger people of this generation's life. Like now, like everyone, like a lot of people go to YouTube for like podcasts and just all different kinds of stuff. So I mean, it's a good move on Nintendo's part to try to get that put on there, because if I'd have to say, if any of the apps like that were important, like most important, that would probably be the one that most younger people are going to want. They're not going to really care about a Netflix or something like that, because like my kids, like they don't watch anything on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu. They want to watch YouTube all the time. Like that's where all their shows are.
Dude, I'm on that Hulu on Switch.
Dude, Hulu is such a lifesaver. I can't even tell you how big of a lifesaver it is. But we're gonna move on to our next story, which is actually way more interesting than this YouTube stuff. Nintendo grabs smartphone-related trademarks for Zelda Spirit Tracks and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. This comes from Nintendo Life. Nintendo Co. Ltd. has applied for trademarks for The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which isn't massive news itself, as the company is forever renewing its trademarks to cover older IP. However, what makes these two near identical applications interesting is that they cover, quote, program for home video game machine, downloadable video game program, and program for smartphone, which is the one that sticks out the most. Both titles are already video games, obviously, which explains the first purpose. The second one could relate to a potential digital download release, but the third is perhaps the most interesting, as it hints that we could get smartphone versions of both titles for mobile or mobile titles based on these games. Of course, trademarks are made all the time and often don't amount to anything, but it's interesting to speculate what these two games could look like on a smart device. Both feature interfaces which could easily be adapted to the touchscreen, especially in case of Spirit Tracks, which makes an excellent use of the DS touchscreen, so you never know. I would play some Spirit Tracks on my phone.
I wouldn't.
Well, you suck. I would play Spirit Tracks on my phone.
Especially, like, the thing is, like, I have an app on my phone called, I think, Octopus, where you can basically play any game on your phone using your Xbox.
Are you telling me that you download ROMs on your phone?
You can play any, like, I played PUBG Mobile on my phone with my Xbox controller. Like, you can basically, there's apps out there where you can use any, like, Bluetooth controller. You can pair it to your phone and play it that way, so you don't even need to use a touch screen.
That's awesome, because like there are some games I wouldn't like, that xCloud thing that's coming to Xbox. If I can just put like my Xbox controller to it, or those rumored there was some rumors going around that Xbox is developing a detachable controller for mobile devices. So that would be cool. But
yeah, you already can basically use your Xbox controller on your phone if you have like that's the only one I know of, is the Octopus or whatever it's called. But yeah, there's workarounds on phones for everything. Mind you, I don't know about the iPhone. Like the Android phones are always more easier to do stuff like that, because it's like Linux in a way, where they kind of let you do whatever you want, which is why I like the Android over iPhones. But
yeah,
just
Ed, you're awfully quiet. Oh,
I was just gonna say, I think if they were going to put a Zelda game on the phone, I don't think it would be Spirit Tracks. I think it would be more in the range of Triforce Hero, probably because of the success of Dragalia Lost, in a sense, and Pocket Camp. I think they would want something like that. If I literally was going to do a Spirit Tracks game, it probably would have to be redesigned because you really have to control Spirit Tracks with the touchpad. So your hands would be covering up most of the screen, and that's not a good look for a game like that on mobile. But if they did something like Triforce Hero, I could see that happening.
I could see, what is it, the four swords or whatever.
Yeah, same thing as Triforce Hero.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Well, keep an eye out for that smartphone Zelda game that may or may not be happening. I don't know. I think Mario vs. Donkey Kong would be cool, though.
Yeah, I could see.
I like those games a lot, and they're simple puzzle games. They're simple enough to incorporate a touchscreen that, like, I'm actually surprised I haven't tried to do it already. But
well, I'm surprised that we don't have like a the Toad treasure tracker or whatever, like something like that, even on the phones.
Yeah, I think because they had planned that for Switch.
Yeah, but I mean, like I could see that being something that they could easily like make an alter, like not. It wouldn't have to be that original game. Just like more of a.
It could almost be like Mario Run, where they're like, "Hey, this is free to download for like the first 10 levels, and then sell level packs." You know?
Yeah, like just the way that game plays, it's so easily could be a mobile style game because it's a very, like a basic puzzle solving type game, like that just would work really well on phones, like on a touch screen style gameplay.
What a great game that is, by the way. Captain Toad, fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that game. Please buy Captain Toad. It's a great game. Buy it. Anyways, our last story, I mean, it's technically the second to last story, but the last story can be folded into this one, I guess. The last story is that Pokemon Let's Go is not going to support the Pro Controller, which I think we already knew. I think they came out and said it, but they had to reconfirm it last week. But our last story, Junichi Masada says he might step down from directing Pokemon games soon. This comes from Game Informer. Pokemon Let's Go is coming fairly soon, launching later this month on Switch, and leaning heavily into the collaboration with the mobile title Pokemon Go. But it appears it might be the momentous for other reasons as well. What? That does not make sense. In an interview on the official Pokemon website, Junichi Masuda, who has been either assistant director or director on every single mainline Pokemon game since Gold and Silver until Sun and Moon, stated that he might be done directing the mainline games. Masuda was asked about working on the Switch game and the ways it ties into Pokemon Go. He answered by talking how familiar he was with Go and how working on the Switch let them experiment with new things like the Pokeball controller. He says, for example, developing the Pokeball Plus and working with Bluetooth to facilitate the connection with Pokemon Go were very interesting things that I had a chance to work on as the director this time. But at the same time, it's important to have the younger generation at Game Freak take over the development of Pokemon as a series. I do believe this will probably be, in terms of the main Pokemon RPGs, the last time that I work as the director. So that's an interesting little tidbit, considering he's been part of directing the series since basically the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years on the same franchise is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. and it was bound to happen. It seems that a lot of the old Nintendo directors are like kind of stepping down or moving away from projects, so the younger generation could come up.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
a lot of them are moving into more like producer roles instead of directors, right? I think what Onuma is like the last of the old guard directing, right?
Yep.
And I don't even think he directed Breath of the Wild. I think he was. Wasn't that the Skyward Sword director who did Breath of the Wild?
I think so. Yeah, because I think Onuma just executive produced him and Miyamoto.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot there to. I mean, Nintendo's moving in a new direction. We've seen it the whole generation, right?
Yeah.
I think it's good to get fresh blood in on these new series. Look at how well Mario Odyssey was received. Look at how well Breath of the Wild was received. Look at all these, getting all these Nindies onto the platform. I think moving in a new direction is good if you have the right direction moving that new class in, right? And I think that's where Miyamoto and Onuma and all the old guard kind of stepping into the producer role and kind of guiding them through directing. I think that's a good thing because you still have the influence of the old guard while bringing new and fresh ideas from the new wave coming in. So
and I would love to see a female director take over the Pokemon series. I think it would work.
So
it's just kind of like it. Yeah, because at this point, the people that will be moving into higher up, spots now in that game will most likely have been fans of the game, of the show and stuff. When, because at this point, those younger people, actually grew up with that show.
Yeah.
So
that's it for the news. Pretty solid news week for Nintendo, considering BlizzCon is going on and Game Awards are coming up, and there's a lot of things going on that Nintendo could reveal some stuff. So glad we had a full news week, but now it's time to get into what we like to call the question block.
Yes.
Remember, you can email us at nintendopalblock@gmail.com for us to answer your questions. Wow, I am just like all over the place today, man. I cannot get words out. It's just, man, Ed kept me up until 2:30 in the morning last night prepping for stuff. Jerk. And now I just feel like I'm stumbling over my words. You can email us at nintendopalblock@gmail.com. And remember, we are giving away Diablo 3 the first half of the month. So, get us your questions, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you want brownie points, rate us on iTunes or Google Play or whatever platform you listen to us on. Preferably iTunes and Google Play, because those are kind of the big main platforms that have rating systems. But, yeah, rate us on those platforms, and we'll give you some brownie points, as they say. I'm all for a good brownie. Let me tell you, I like them when they're kind of soft and gooey in the middle.
Yes,
but they're still like warm from the oven.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I like a good brownie.
I
didn't get this body from not eating brownies, guys.
Just don't put no nuts in mine.
Yeah, no nuts, please. Chocolate chips, though. I'm all for chocolate chips.
Yes.
Anyways,
peanut butter swirls.
No peanut butter.
Take you and your
peanut butter chocolate brown.
And your pickle pizza somewhere else with that mess.
Yeah, go get some cheese, good. Wisconsinite.
I got plenty of it in the fridge. I don't need to get more.
Man. Our first question comes from Todd Oxtra, friend of the show. Check out Secret Friends Unite on your podcast service of choice. I think it goes up on Fridays. At least that's when it shows up in my feed. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, Todd. I know it shows up on Fridays in my feed. But anyways, check it out. If you like comic book, TV shows, and movies, and all that good stuff. If you want to hear Charlie talk about Spider-Man for the 900th time, or if they do get to games,
Star Trek.
If they do get to games, it'll usually be Well, around this time, Charlie will probably play some DC super villains on whatever platform he's playing it on. That's the extent of their video game stuff.
Yeah.
But I love
Usually,
I love that show.
Yeah, usually Todd will talk about games, and then Charlie will just zone out, kind of like you with music.
Yeah, exactly. He sends in his question. He asks, "My question is, what genre would you like to see Nintendo develop internally that they currently don't? I would love to see a cinematic action game from Nintendo. It seems to be almost non-existent on the Switch, and I think Retro Studios would be a great fit for it. I also think the PvE co-op game like Destiny or Anthem would be a cool area for them to explore. The team who made Federation Force had a good idea, but taking the model and applying it to Switch with a new IP and decent voice chat would make it awesome. Keep up the great work. Todd, SFU Oxtra." Great point, Todd. Metroid Prime Federation Force was a great idea, and I think that Retro's new IP that they are definitely working on, in my head, is going to be that game where it's going to have a campaign, it's going to be co-op, it's going to be like a Destiny Light. You go in, you get loot, you upgrade your guy, you go in, shoot stuff. It's going to be a great time. I agree with you, Todd. Todd, I think you should win this game based on your answer alone.
No.
That's just me, though. There are two other people on this panel. And since Ed disagreed with me, there's one other guy on this panel that I... but in all seriousness, I would really like... I think... The thing with Nintendo is they're so creative in terms of gameplay and world building and stuff, but they're not the greatest in terms of like straight up storytelling, in terms of like a Halo or Uncharted style story where they're actually trying to tell a story with voice acting and cutscenes and action. And I think Breath of the Wild is kind of like the first step in that direction, where I actually really liked how they told the story in that game. But in terms of, like I just played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and the story is so-so in that game, but Nintendo's not really trying to do anything cinematically, I guess you would call it, in terms of, they're trying to build a game that's fun and you explore and collect things and do all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Yes.
I do think Retro, and now granted part of them left to go work on Halo and form Armature and all this other stuff, but I think Retro Studios is the studio to do a game like this. Mm-hmm. Right? And I would love to see some sort of co-op experience where, like, for Squad Goals, we played a lot of the Halo games, and we played Gears of War and stuff. Like,
yes.
I would love to see that sort of experience come to Switch, where we could just all sit around and say, hey, let's go play some missions in Game X by Retro, right? Let's go do some missions together. And that's where, like, the Metroid Prime Federation Force stuff comes in, is like, I really like the idea of that game. I really do. I like that Destiny style, let's go do missions and collect loot and upgrade our armor and our weapons and our suits and stuff. I really like that co-op experience. And Jesse, I know you like co-op games, and we'd make Ed play with us because he's Ed and he loves us and can't tell us no. But I would really like to see this applied to a new IP. In as much as I wouldn't mind it having the Metroid name attached to it. Like, I think a new IP from Retro would really get a lot of people excited.
Yeah.
Well, my answer is easy. Metroid Helldivers. We already did.
We already talked about that too.
Talked about that, yes.
But that's the same idea as Federation Force, except for it's top down, right?
But see, that's something that Nintendo hasn't really done yet. Nintendo hasn't really did a arena style kind of base game like that. They have games that take place in a arena, but they haven't did nothing that's detailed as Helldivers. And I think
just got an update, by the way. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Matt and Moose were like freaking out about it.
What I would love to see though is intelligent systems to take something and do like I would say I would kind of like to see intelligent system because we know they're good for strategy games like Codename Steam, and games of that nature. But I kind of would love to see them actually do something like The Last Guardian. Be able to tell a narrative game. And make it for the 3DS. It don't normally have to be for Switch, but
No, it has to be for Switch, Ed. No more of this 3DS garbage.
No,
None. I like 3DS. Not for multiplayer games. No.
I think with
Stop
a
it.
big narrative game, intelligent system, they develop their games for 3DS. So
I'm gonna
I could see
break
that
my 2DS over your face so
Well,
I can get
break
that
it.
Super Nintendo 3DS that's on sale on Amazon.
find an excuse. You always got to find an excuse and use me for it.
That's right.
No, but I could
The black sheep.
I could literally see them doing that.
Racist.
Also, I would love to actually see Nintendo. They don't do much in the music genre.
But we saw how Wii Music turned out.
Oh well, yeah. But you know what? I would love to see them continually. I would love to see them actually make a music program.
They did. It's called Nintendo Labo. They built a piano.
Well, I was going
And a
to.
guitar.
I was going to be like more as in you're able to make a music, create your own music, and you can send it out to some of your friends and stuff, and they could use that music for some of their games. So if they could make like an awesome like remix of The Legend of Zelda and put it in Diablo 3, like I think that would be cool. That would be something that Nintendo has never done. They're good at some of their music games, and probably the last thing I could say, I think I would want them to develop something for schools, like a system that is straight art academy, but it's for kids in school who have a disability or just regular kids who want to learn about art. So they could probably
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
they could do that, and they could use it for like their iPhones or the iPads or computers or something like that, and have it actually just developed for school so that kids can learn different styles of art.
Almost like a Photoshop type game, where you could do Photoshop style like art editing.
Yeah. And if they want to like actually learn how to use it, they could go in the real world, go to an art store, show that they got the game, and give them a breakdown of what they need. And it'll be cool if they partner up with Nintendo to be like, hey, you brought these items, you took a picture of the receipt, you scanned it with the QR code and stuff. Here's 50 gold points for your eShop account.
And they could get like one of those drawing, like the drawing board things that you can buy for PC, where you actually have a pen that you can draw on the thing and do stuff in game. Like they could, they could have accessories like that, even that they could, that would give them opportunities for things like that too.
Yeah,
to be sold. For me, like kind of touching on what Corey was saying with the, like. Nintendo's like strength has always been that they're like one of the best at gameplay, and like not that they're necessarily bad at telling stories, but they don't really have many games that really dive deep into like really basing the game around narrative. It's usually like most of their games are based around gameplay, and and that's fine, because like for someone like me, I'm not always like quick to get games that are more narrative based, but like I could see them trying to do like have like their own IP that would basically be like their IP that's based around just telling really good stories, like a Last of Us or something like that. Something more, I think, along those lines, like a Last of Us would be something that Nintendo would be able to do really well. like, you know, like as far as gameplay and everything goes, and then that would give them a chance to have like an IP that really lets them really just go crazy with telling really good stories. I think that's what I would like to see them do, is have an IP that's similar to like Last of Us. It's very story driven.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out someday. The thing to me is like, I feel like Nintendo is not built for that yet, right? Like a very story driven style game like that. And who knows? Maybe one day they will be. Maybe Retro is going to be built for that, and maybe a new IP from them will show that. But as of right now, we don't know. You know.
Well, and I honestly think it's only like I feel like most game developers could do something like that. It's just a matter of who they collaborate with to, like, because I feel like it's like a game like that is literally like the only, you know, like the only distance from making something like that is literally just hiring someone who has, you know, like can tell a story or is a good writer to collaborate with the, you know, those developers and kind of help, you know, create a story for the game. Like, because I feel like, you know, like they'll obviously a lot of them have their own story writers, but I feel like a lot of the times, like, it's just a matter of finding someone who's got a story that you'd like to tell in game form, and being able to just kind of work around it, like, you know, like, because I feel like that's just it. Is like most developers don't really have someone who's always like a super, you know, good at writing stories. I mean, they usually do well, but, you know, that's why there are, you know, those few people out there that are like, ooh, you know, this person, because they're known for being able to write really good stories or do really good stories, but they seem a lot of times few and far in between. So, but I think that's just it would just be a matter of hiring someone that is telling stories that you would like to do. You know, like I've thought in the past, like I honestly, I kind of wish that Studio Ghibli would team up with Nintendo and do some kind of game. Like if they were to even write a story just for like literally just a game that like isn't even really based off of a movie they've already done. Like something like that would be massive, like in my opinion. Like if they were to get something like that, because Studio Ghibli, like that's like Nintendo. Like when if I think of any like company that makes movies that would be closest to Nintendo, like in my opinion, that it's them. Like I could see them doing something. Or even like, you know, even just making a Spirited Away game or making a, you know, something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's another possibility too. Of like, look at what they did with Ni no Kuni, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that was them, right? Doing all the art and stuff for that first game, right?
The Studio
Ghibli or Ghibli or whatever.
Yeah. They did the. So. Yeah, like something, I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, like that would be the best thing for Nintendo to do as far as story is just, you know, like go all out on that one thing that, you know, that they know will work for them, and it will work for the story writer, you know, as well. I think that would just be really neat to see, just a really, really good story driven. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like they have games that you can play on this, you know, that are exclusive to Switch that tell good stories, but you know, a lot of them are third party. So
yeah,
but yeah, I just think something like that would be really good idea for them. Because they know how to make games. Like, we know that. They know what they're doing when it comes to the tech part. But yeah, just getting a really cool story would be awesome.
But then that depends on who really cares about narrative. So, but that's all I got to say about that. So we got two more questions.
Care about narrative.
Just saying.
Ed only cares if it says Nintendo on the box.
Pretty much.
All right, we're going to move on to our next question. Deshaun Malone writes in and asks, how do you see Nintendo's 2019 roadmap? What third-party surprises do you think we'll see? And keep up the awesome work, guys. I mean, Nintendo's roadmap for 2019, we've talked about a little bit, but I think we'll just go with the third-party surprises. I mean, I still think that Rockstar is going to port Grand Theft Auto 5 and the first Red Dead to Switch at some point. I really think that. I don't really care for those games, but I think if they're porting LA Noire to Switch, that they're going to try to do something else.
I would say they'll probably do Bloody 2 for Switch.
Maybe
that's because this is the thing. That's Rockstar's next big game.
Yeah, because they already said they're waiting for the political climate to die down before they do Grand Theft Auto 6. Just because like they don't want the backlash for that. So I think you're right, Ed. I think Bully might be their next kind of, or they could just do Max Payne 4 and just get it over with.
Oh shoot! They could just remake Max Payne, remaster Max Payne 3 and put it on. I would say mostly race.
That actually surprises me that they haven't done that already. Remastered Max Payne 3,
yeah,
or like made a collection or something.
I would say Race 2, if we know Wolfenstein Youngblood is coming, and we know that Doom 2 is coming, but I really think if Bethesda returns back to the Dishonored series, I think we'll probably see Dishonored 3. I think we'll see 1 and 2 as a collection on Switch. Even though that is support, I think if the sales are good, I think Dishonored 3 could come. Or even Watch Dogs 2 could come to Switch with Ubisoft. I have no hope in EA bringing anything to Switch. So
yeah, I don't either. Like, as much as I want Madden on Switch, I want Madden on Switch so bad, I would give them my right testicle for Madden on Switch.
I think in this moment, I think EA and Activision, as the way that they stand with Nintendo, I don't think anybody cares and probably don't want any of their games on their platform.
Yeah, I mean,
FIFA is fine.
I think Activision is a little bit more lenient in terms of, I mean, we got Crash. I'm sure Spyro's coming next year. I'm sure Spyro is coming next year, but like,
yeah,
unless it's like Skylanders or something, Destiny will never come to Switch.
They don't need it.
Call of Duty won't ever come to Switch.
They don't need it.
Like, the only part of Activision I could see coming to Switch would be whatever Blizzard decides to do. And like, I mean, we got Diablo, which is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think StarCraft is going to ever come to Switch. The only other game that I think would ever come to Switch would either be Hearthstone or maybe Overwatch at some point. And that Overwatch is a big maybe.
Overwatch is going to come, and it's going to be announced at E3, and you're going to see Samus Aran in it.
I don't think they're going to do I don't think they're going to do guest characters. I think they're going to do skins for the characters. Me. I think they're going to do. They're not going to make guest characters. They're going to make skins for the characters.
With Nintendo, I think they'll put Samus Aran in there.
I don't think so.
If Blizzard, trust me, if Blizzard announced that and said pre-orders are live, I bet you by the next day that pre-orders will be high up. Because everybody going to be like, we could play Samus Aran in this month? Yeah.
I still think they would do skins for the characters. I think that skins would be really cool.
I say put her. I say, oh come on, Blizzard, put her in.
A Zero Suit Mercy skin, or like a Link skin for like I don't know. Name me some.
Kind of like what they did in Bayonetta, like where it's just the character dressed up like
yeah,
because those additions.
Or like for oh my gosh, why am I blanking on all these Overwatch characters? Symmetra, I think they would do like a proper Metroid style, like the power suit, or like a.
Hey,
I don't know. I think they could do some really cool stuff with skins.
I say bring in Fox McCloud and bring in Samus. Like
I think Lucio with a Fox McCloud skin would be awesome. Mm-hmm. I could see that for sure.
I say bring in the characters. I mean, because that would just
that causes so many balancing issues. Bringing in a new character.
It's Overwatch. Do you think people care about balance?
Yeah, I do. That they have a whole league surrounding Overwatch and balance.
Shoot,
they make millions of dollars on a professional Overwatch league. It's all based on balance. Yes,
of course,
they do care about balance.
Sure, as many people I see
they fight you, Ed, so hard.
but you know, I think it would be 3 times the sale that people would get.
I'm sure it would, but another character would cost so much. It costs so much money, so many balancing issues that they wouldn't have to do the other versions of the games.
Pay for it?
No, I mean they would pay for it, but I don't think Blizzard wants to do that. I guarantee you, Blizzard does not want to do that.
Blizzard don't want to do it. Activision wants Blizzard to make them do
it. Blizzard tells Activision what to do. They do not tell Blizzard what to do.
But Activision bought Blizzard, I think.
Their parent company is Activision Blizzard, and Activision and Blizzard are 2 separate entities under Activision Blizzard. Ed, we're going to fight soon.
Round 1. Fight.
I thought throw a spicy chicken burger at you.
Yeah, like the only thing I could think of that, like, I don't know, like the thing is, it's so far we've been surprised with like some of the stuff that they brought to Switch, like as far as like Saints Row 3 coming to Switch, and it's just so weird sometimes, like some of the things coming.
It's almost to a point where like if they say something's being ported to Switch, I'm like, okay, nice.
Probably.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I could see maybe like Just Cause 3 coming to it, but
yeah,
I don't think that we would get the 4th one.
No, Square Enix has more.
It's always saying no.
No, but because Square Enix already have plans for a Switch to bring some games in the realm of like Octopath Traveler. So to get some of the Just Cause games on there, I would love a collection. I would say that much. But to bring 3 and 4 to Switch,
I just think it would only be 3. Like I don't, or like maybe like you said, like the first 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see 4 coming there just because I think it's gonna be too big of a game.
I'm still
like it's gonna just be too.
What?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Sorry, everybody got real quiet, and then I talk, and then it got quiet again.
It was Skype or something.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I just said it was too big, and that was all I had to say.
I think the internet just froze everything for like 3 seconds.
Exactly.
I'm just waiting on my Tomb Raider port. That's all.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Square. Tomb Raider port, Switch. I'll buy it again. I'll buy all 3 of them again. I don't care.
Come on, Bandai Namco. Hurry up and get Tekken 7 on that mud.
Nobody wants Tekken.
Or you might be surprised.
Just cutting you off now.
I
don't have time for your shenanigans.
Am I being muted again? I already been muted on Nurse Gone Platinum twice.
I can't mute you through Skype. I can only mute you through Google Hangouts. Our last question comes from Samantha Cross. What do you think Metroid Prime 4 will do to change up the formula and keep a modern audience engaged? I
think,
don't,
like we said, doing the whole Destiny thing.
yeah, I know. I was thinking that too, but I don't like. For me, I think the people that are buying Metroid Prime want the Metroid Prime experience. Like, I don't think they're going in expecting a first-person shooter. Although that would garner a wider audience if they made it like a proper Halo-style first-person shooter. But I think people that want a Metroid game are expecting the exploration and the puzzles and
Well, I mean, I'm thinking, like, what if, like, they kind of did the whole idea of Destiny, but it was more like the latest Zelda, where it's very story driven and like you going around the world, and it's very single player based, but you have almost like a in some ways the Animal Crossing style, like where you can see other people and stuff like that, but it's still very story, very based around like puzzle solving and stuff like that. Like
this is the thing with that. Metroid needs to stay away from Destiny. Anything related to Destiny.
I don't know. Metroid Prime Federation Force was really good, Ed. You just didn't play it.
This is the thing about it. Destiny and Destiny 2 has so many problems that it still hasn't recovered from anything. Even with Forsaken, it still hasn't recovered and put it in a respectable place.
I just got my free version of Destiny on PC.
but I would argue though that they would just do it better anyways. So I mean,
I think if they were to do the quote unquote Destiny thing, it's going to be simpler. It's going to be way simpler. It's going to be way more polished, even though mechanically Destiny is a fun game to play. It's fun to go in there and shoot stuff. Mm-hmm. They just have so many convoluted systems. And this is coming from a big Destiny fan. So many convoluted systems and too many different currencies that do different things. They have too many ways to get confused. They're not great at easing new players in. Like, that's Destiny, right? And so if Nintendo were to do that, I think Nintendo would make it easier for people to come in. It's an easier loot-based shooter. But
it removes of what Metroid is. I
agree with you 100%, Ed. I agree with that's not what Metroid is. Metroid is a solitary experience where you're exploring and solving puzzles, and like we've said many times before, I think Metroid Prime 4 can have both worlds, right? I think they can have the single player campaign, which is just you as Samus. And maybe these are two separate experiences, right? Maybe they're both $60.
More like Borderlands.
No, I don't.
No, I would say more.
Maybe they're two separate games, right? Where like we get Metroid Prime 4. It's the Metroid game that everybody wants. It's a solitary experience where you're going through solving puzzles, getting cool upgraded weapons, stuff like that, right? But then you have the Destiny-style experience, a separate game where you build your own bounty hunter. Samus is one of the people giving you missions, and like you discover different mission givers that are from the Metroid universe, right? And you have to work together to kind of take on this greater evil, similar to what Destiny does, but way simpler. Like you go on different missions to get cooler gear, to get new weapons, and like the upgrades and stuff that are kind of like what Metroid gives you. You can implement the different power-ups from Metroid into this new game by saying, "Oh, let's go do that strike or whatever they're called in this made-up game that we're never getting. Let's go do that. We'll get the ice cannon, which is good against this boss over here, and like we can do all kinds of cool stuff with it." Like I still really want a Destiny style game set in the Metroid universe. There's so many cool bosses that you could do for raid style experiences. There's a lot of cool things you could do with strike specific things like infiltrating different mazes and stuff. And you could take the Metroid maze type element and implement them into these strikes or whatever. And depending on what paths you take through the strike depends on like what kind of loot you find, what kind of treasure you find, what kind of upgrades you find. And you unveil different paths to then upgrade different things. And then if you take like a certain one path, you fight one boss, and if you take another path, you fight a different boss, and they both give you different types of equipment that you can upgrade your characters with. But it would be a much more polished, simplified version because it's Nintendo, and they want people to come in and have an easier time doing this.
So you just want the gameplay mechanics more of the gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, I would. That's what I would love. I still want the single player campaign Metroid experience, which you would get, right? But what you do in this is where it would differentiate from Destiny, where what you do in this single player campaign doesn't really affect what you do in the multiplayer side of things, except maybe like the way Destiny does emblems and shaders and stuff. Maybe if you complete the campaign on certain difficulty or do certain things like get 100% or defeat bosses a certain way, you get like the Destiny style emblem or whatever that you can show off and say, hey, I defeated this boss without getting hit. I 100%ed this game. I got all the upgrades for this particular thing, right? And you could show it off that way in the multiplayer section.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I envision too. Is just like
Why are you smiling like that?
It's just.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, just like I was saying, that's kind of like what I envision too. Is like. Yeah, almost like that would be good to do like GTA did, like where like their online game is like a completely different game. It's like, like doesn't really have anything to do with the main storyline game, like because you're completely creating your own character in there, and it just like basically is only using the world that you're playing the regular game in to do these completely different things,
Yeah, and you have like, so many different bosses and mini bosses that you could do for like a Destiny raid style experience, and it wouldn't be as nearly as long or as complicated as a Destiny raid. That's not what I'm saying, but like you could go in and on like a first run style thing, solve puzzles with your friends and fight these cool bosses. And, like, a first run could take you, like, an hour and a half to 2 hours instead of, like, 15.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that...
Plus, like, working in the dreaded microtransactions or loot boxes or whatever, it kind of goes along with what Furukawa says he wants to do with future Switch
DLC
titles and DLC and, games as a service, right? He said he wants to explore all those options, so...
Yeah.
Well, I'm
You're just gonna need something too that's gonna make their online service relevant with that game as well. Like that's the only reason that I think that they're gonna want to do something elaborate for.
And like it doesn't even have to be Metroid. It could be Splatoon. It could be like
if we're going to take that idea, of course, Samus can't be out of it. And I would say the army that Samus was in, if that commander gave new bounty hunters and stuff to go out and do the missions, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like you could be
like an ODST similar type thing,
like,
in a way,
where it's kind of an offshoot.
Yeah.
I mean, just keep Samus out of it, because I feel like you got to think of finding energy tanks, and people are going to be like, does this mix some ideas and stuff from Destiny with the Metroid like design, I would say.
Yeah.
of finding stuff, and it was one character only going to be able to open that door because he's that color or she's that color. Are they going to be
if you have
designing worlds?
If you have different classes, I mean, look at Anthem, for example.
Yes.
All those different classes can be customized the way you want to play. Yes, they have specific abilities, but you can kind of design those abilities around how you play your game, right? And so, you could also apply that to this fictional whatever, right? And it doesn't even have to be separate classes. You can just use a skill tree, right, and apply your different points certain places, and you know what I mean? You don't have to lock yourself into in Destiny. That's the one thing that makes me mad, right? Is you have to lock yourself into a class right when you start. And for new players, that's jarring because I don't know what any of these classes do. Okay, the hunter sounds cool, but if you want to play primarily PvE, the hunter's not going to be a good class for you, right? It's you don't know that from the start, right?
Well, the hardest question is, who do you market to then? Do you market to the Metroid fans or do you market to the Destiny fans? And how do you market to both?
You market it as Nintendo's version of Destiny. It doesn't matter what fans you're marketing it to because you want to reach a wider audience, you go for that Destiny fan, right? And then if you want to put a Metroid skin on it, then this was the big problem with Metroid Prime Federation Force. I don't think people would have minded Metroid Prime Federation Force if Metroid Prime 4 would have come out first. Right? That's the big thing. Because it's not a bad game. It's on the wrong system. No. But it has a lot of cool ideas that I think if it was on a proper system and put with a proper budget behind it would have been fleshed out and better, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at here is if they put it on Switch as a proper system, you can do local co-op or online, 3-player teams, right? Or 4 players, I guess. It doesn't matter. But I think the Metroid Prime Federation Force idea works. I think it does. The only problem with that game is that we hadn't had a 3D or we hadn't had any type of Metroid game in so long. Yeah. And that's the first Metroid game that we get with Metroid Prime slapped onto it, which is we expect something from Metroid Prime, right? And I think that Metroid Prime Federation Force's statement was what you expect from Metroid Prime is a first-person shooter adventure game. Yeah. And so I think its only problem was we didn't get Metroid Prime 4 first. And that having that subtitle Federation Force implemented that, yes, we can make spin-off games in this universe. And I think Nintendo knows with the well-known gameplay of the Metroid Prime series. Yeah, and I really think Metroid Prime Federation Force worked, except for the fact that it was on the wrong system and we didn't get a proper Metroid game beforehand. But
and I think that's why I asked the question of marketing, because if you're going to market this game, that portion, I say, to that Destiny fan, you really got to get the trust of that Destiny person to come and pick up, because some Destiny people might still laugh at Nintendo. But that's
fine. Then you find a new. Look how many Switches have sold, right? And by the time
that's what I was about to ask, and that's what I was about to say. If that Destiny player do own a Switch, if whoever developed that game mechanic can get that Destiny feel and get it right and hook them,
well, that's what
Nintendo has done their job.
It doesn't matter what system a Destiny style game is on. Mm-hmm. Destiny was the first game to get it right. Right, this shared world experience, open shared world, kind of loot based game. Right, they were the first team to actually kind of quote unquote do it right. But as the game progressed, a lot of people found issues with it, things they would changed. If Nintendo can take I'm going to use Anthem as an example again, right? And even the Division to an extent, right? If Anthem takes what Destiny did wrong and turns it around and does it right, I think Destiny's going to be dead in the water. You know, because like people want that experience, but they want it done right, and they don't want to complain about the things they don't like, right? And if you get that Nintendo style polish and research and just go all in on this thing, I think you could capture the Destiny audience no problem. And I think it would have a similar effect that Pokemon has, but for a wildly different audience. I think it would draw people to the system. It doesn't matter how powerful the system is, as long as the gameplay and the gunplay is fun. You have a suite of competitive multiplayer things to do, and still have that shared world PvE experience. I think it would draw people to the system, especially in the environment of Fortnite and Anthem and Destiny and the Division. Like, there's room for that PvE experience on Nintendo. And I think there's even a bigger chance it would succeed because it's on a Nintendo system and nothing else. Because you'll never get that experience anywhere else.
True. Yes. I mean, they I don't know if they would need a demo for that or not, but I just like
put out a demo. Get it with if you make these two separate experiences, when Metroid Prime 4 comes out, give people beta access, give people a demo with that game. Say, "Hey, this is something we're working on. We would like your feedback. It's not coming out for a year, but here's a little sliver of what this game is. Give us like what, you know, quote unquote, the story missions would look like. Give us a couple like strike type things, like 2 or 3 probably like 2 strikes to get a feel for it and say, these are the levels we're kind of working on. Show the loot system and how it works. Like, do something Destiny didn't.
No.
Show us how to use the items we pick up. Show us what the different currency does. Show us where we can use it. Give us that experience.
And that could grab the Destiny person, because I think they will. That will ease their worries about it. And then if Nintendo does take that feedback, and trust me, a lot of Destiny fans will give them that feedback. They'll give them honest feedback. I think Nintendo would take it and be like,
Division.
Okay.
Look how much feedback the Division took from Destiny fans, right? A lot of people jumped from Destiny to the Division when the Division came out, and the Division had an awesome single-player campaign, which is what people loved about it, but the end game was kind of, you know, so-so, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Look how hard they worked, and look how they built that end game to the point where, like, people still are playing the Division, right?
Yes.
And the Division 2, I think, is, you know, pretty high on our anticipated 2019 list, right? I think I speak for everyone on that. And, like, it's because of what the Division built. And it's what Ubisoft does well, is like, okay, we have, I mean, look at Rainbow Six also, not the same type of game, but look at how Ubisoft
built upon that,
builds and takes feedback and addresses issues and patches them in to the point where Rainbow Six, we're in year 3 of that game, and it's like the 3rd highest game being played on Steam right now.
There's still 7 more years of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Nintendo can capture that and really kind of double down on it and make it simple enough for, you know, it would be my first Destiny, right? It would be simple, it would be fun, it would be, you know, easy to get into.
It literally would have to be the one to make Bungie pick up that Metroid Prime 4 and play that mode, because they're going to learn. If Nintendo could get it right, because of the Destiny community, Bungie will pick that game up and they will learn from Nintendo and try to improve upon that. Take it and improve upon that.
Yeah, and like with Retro's kind of background in the first-person adventure genre, like they could do this. They could pull this off. They could put puzzles in the environment and let people get secret weapons and you know, I think Retro would be the studio to do this, you know, and I think this kind of ties back into Todd's question where, like, yeah, I would love to see Retro do this style game. I would love to see them go all out with this style game. And I hope it's Metroid, but if it's their new IP, I would also love to see it thrive, you know? So,
yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, and that's why I said earlier that's keeping Metroid Prime away from Destiny because Destiny is such in such a lost place. But the way that you bring it up and how Nintendo can take it.
That's why I'm saying don't make Metroid Prime 4 the Destiny style experience.
Right.
Make it its own separate experience and show that it's, hey, this is a spin-off game and this is something that we really would like to do. And you know what? The Federation, even if they make it Federation Force 2, I know the name would turn off a lot of people, but once reviews got out there and people started playing it and saw how it played and felt, and you know, we have Metroid Prime 4 finally, like I really think that game is coming. I still think Federation Force 2 is coming at some point. I mean, they may not call it Federation Force 2 just because that name has such a staleness to it. I don't know, man. I still think that game's really fun. But
we could see it at E3. I have a feeling we'll see it at E3 because Nintendo did say they got more 3DS games in a pipeline. I don't think it should come to 3DS. Hopefully, it doesn't. No, but if they could implement Federation Force 2 and Metroid Prime 4, take what you talked about, Corey, and like really put out a beta. Have the people who know shooters and know the Destiny, the community know it very well, and help them refine that game. Then yes, it would definitely work.
Yeah, and you know, Nintendo hasn't been shy about doing betas this generation, right? Splatoon, Mario Tennis, ARMS, like they've done the test fires or whatever they're calling them. So like, they're not afraid to do it. And if you have to time it like Fallout 76 has been doing, or like Splatoon did, like do that.
Even ARMS,
yeah, like do the timed thing. It's fine, but like. I think that would really get people in the door. And like if you did that thing where, hey, if you play these first couple missions, your progress carries over.
Yeah,
I mean that would be smart too. So that was a solid. I liked all these questions.
Yeah.
I really like talking about this Metroid style idea, and like if like I still like our Helldivers idea too, but like. That could be its own thing. So
yeah, I mean it's just that the state that Destiny is in, and people are talking about that. People are talking about stuff with Destiny, putting it in Metroid, not realizing that Destiny is in a bad state right now. You kind of got to separate it. Mm-hmm. And are you gonna try to rip off everything into Metroid and not give specifics, or are there elements that do work in Destiny that can work in the Metroid series and be approved upon to show show Bungie how to do it? Because if you do the second one, that's going to work well with Nintendo. Nintendo was going to focus on that quality to make it better. But you just can't say that if it had a Destiny style thing, that's too general and a little bit too vague, and that might hurt that Metroid Prime 4.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
obviously it's not like they'd always have it just Metroid. It's going to always be a Metroid game first. Yeah. You know, obviously. So I think it would be obvious that it would just be elements of it and not like a blatant rip off of it.
Yeah.
Plus by the time that this game would theoretically come out, which would be like 2020, 2021, 2022 probably.
Yeah.
after Metroid Prime 4, like there would be enough games out there as a service to say they wouldn't have to compare it directly to Destiny. They could be like, this is our Anthem. This is our Division. This is our...
I think Anthem fits it better.
Yeah.
That beta would delay Metroid Prime 4, and I would be all for that, whatever they decide to go with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you give us a beta, like that would be the smartest thing they could do.
Yes.
You know? But we've been going for almost 2 hours. This has been some interesting conversation. So we're gonna wrap it up here because we have a lot more to work on today. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching Nintendo Power Block. Remember, you can find it every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on your podcast service of choice, on Nintendo Power Block's YouTube page, and on ngrradio.com. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Nintendo_PBlock. and check out all of our other shows, including Ninja Showcase Season 2 starting in January. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at TheBretcherCode and check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud, Google Play, and other podcast apps. And read some of our reviews on NGR. Red Dead Revolver 2 will be coming very soon.
Revolver 2?
Red Dead Redemption 2. Ooh, you mentioned Revolver, and I was just like, ooh, we were talking about that game earlier. Yeah. So that's why it came to my mind. Yeah, that review will be up next week, so you guys can check my thoughts about it. It will be dropping that Monday. So whether you own the game, looking forward to the game, you guys will be able to hear my thoughts on it.
All right. Yeah, and you can
thoughts,
and you can find me on Twitch at PhantomMaggotAX.
You can find me at CoreyHD86
on Twitter.
Twitter and Instagram.
Twitch.
Wow. You can find me at CoreyHD86 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on twitch.tv/CoreyHD. You can also find me on other podcasts such as Arsenal X and Nerds Gone Rogue. By the way, check out our family of podcasts, including those two shows I just mentioned, Nerds Gone Platinum, which is our PlayStation podcast, and of course, Nintendo Power Block. Like, subscribe, and share to our YouTube channel. Remember to get your entries in for Diablo 3. Email the show at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com and subscribe to our YouTube page. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, we love you.
Bye. Everybody. Woohoo!